Hey everybody, welcome back to the Shelburne Home Prices Report. And today is 2020. So hopefully you had an amazing holidays and New Year's was just an incredible time. Whatever it was, I just hope it was good for you. So today I crunched all the numbers for last year, put it all together, and the report is out. So what I'd like to do is go on inside, back into the office, and go through all of them with you to give you a snapshot as to what's going on in our marketplace. Okay? Anyways, let's go. Welcome back. Let's talk about what's going on in the real estate market in Shelburne. There's quite a bit to actually talk about. I've put together in the report quite a bit of information with regards to trends, how long properties are sitting on the market, what they're selling for, whether it's a detached or a semi or a townhouse, all this kind of detail. And along with another trend that we're starting to see as well. So we're going to dive into all of that. And I'm pretty excited. So this report, treat it as if you're sitting behind me, right? Sitting next to me here, and we're going through it. And I am explaining to you what's been happening. That is the gist of what this is about me giving you information so you can make educated decisions, so you can kind of start your process of selling your home. So let's dive in. Let's look at what's been going on, okay? Okay, so here's the report that we're going to take a look at. Now, you will have either received this report in an email or you will have received it by mail. Just depends on what you had asked for when you filled in your information. So let's take a look at what's been going on. So Shelburne stats. This is kind of interesting. This past year, we had 260 homes that were listed, and 183 of them sold. So that's like a 70% sales ratio, which is really good. Orangeville was selling only 2% higher, which is kind of an interesting number. And then I also put in the sales for last month. We had 4 sales, 8 new listings. So basically 50% was selling last month, which is normal. I mean, it's December. I mean, that's what typically happens. So how did we do for the year? So we ended off with the year with an average sales price of $490,000, basically, a median price of $483,000. Now, again, if you have a couple of houses that sell, in the $1 million range mark, they would affect the average sale price, but the median price kind of scrubs that and really equalizes what's been going on. So again, that's why both those numbers are there. The average days on market we saw was 38, which is all right, which is down from last year. I think last year was 42. Sales to list price, 98, which is basically what we had last year. And then 100% last month. So whatever was selling basically was selling 100% of what they were asking. Minus obviously a couple of dollars here and there. Now, this is always an interesting chart to look at, just in terms of kind of where things are at. In 2019, we were I think we had like 58 days on market, right? That's when we had that little bit of a mini recession. And then when people realized, it's not so bad, and the government gave us some incentives, things kind of balanced out. But then we started to see some drop-offs, right? And what happened is we started to see a shortage of homes, basically. And with the shortage of homes came this rapid drop in the amount of days that the properties were sitting on the market. Now, what's happened over last year, 2018, things kind of went back up. We saw more inventory, and then again, it dropped just a little bit back to more of a normal level, and which is great to see, right? Again, sales to new listings. Everyone thinks that every single home that gets listed is sold, but it's not true, right? 2009. Things weren't, hold on a second, there's 2000. So 2008, 2009, again, the amount of time it was taking for properties to sell was much, much, much higher than what it was before, but not all properties were selling, right? Like that's only maybe 50%, less than 50% of the homes that were listed were actually selling, right? Crazy numbers, right? And that's kind of stayed true a little bit. And then we started to see this drop in how many were listed. And then we started to see a rise on how many homes were actually selling, right? So the ratio between the two started to decrease. And then in 2015, again, we saw this jump in the amount of homes that were being listed. And that is those new homes that we started to see, right? A lot of people started to buy those new homes and then they started to sell them. So then we started to see this rise, right? But again, 2015, not every single home was selling, right? However, 2016, the gap really narrowed, right? It really, really narrowed down. Almost everything that was listed was selling in 2016, which is crazy. But then 2017 hit, things started to kind of get a little bit back to normal. 2018 saw, okay, that's a little bit overkill. And then we saw 2019, which was more in line with what we were seeing around the 2012 and 2013 mark. So again, I think we're back to it's kind of more normal, but we're going to see more sales because there's a lot more houses in town, right? And so with more houses, again, more listings. So, typically you start to see that, okay? Now, this is an interesting chart. Now, this is the average sale price in the GTA, which includes Shelburne, okay? And I think it's important to show this because the more data that we have, the cleaner the graph. You can actually see something from it, right? And you can glean insights. Now, if it was just Shelburne's numbers in there, it doesn't graph very well. It's kind of jumpy, spiky. You can't really see a trend very well. But with this, we do, okay? And it's fascinating. Now, automatically, your eyes are going to jump to this section here. That was 2017, okay? That's before everything. That was when it was insanity. Things were going crazy, crazy, crazy. And then boom, everything just dropped. And it dropped like crazy, right? Right back to almost, right? The tail end of 2017 is basically where it should have been, right? The whole time, right? The first part of the year, these first 4 months, man, no, not at all. So anyone that bought in that time in 2017, yes, you sold for a higher price, but guess what? You also bought at a higher price. So if you wanted to sell now, sorry, the prices haven't caught up to it yet. Okay. So in this graph, you can see the fluorescent color green, which is this past year, 2019. Okay. So 2019 was following the trend of 2018. Very flat. Not a lot going on, right? Very flat until about April. And that's when we started to see a little bit of movement away from where things were. Because, it was really flat. You can see the line, right? But again, you start to see more of a rounded, right? Things are kind of coming up. May hits, boom. That's when properties typically peak. And if you look all the way down in all the charts, that's when it peaked, right? May is when the prices are selling at the highest, okay? Except 2017, when basically it was in April, in March and April, that's when things were a little crazy, right? But then things kind of leveled off. Summertime hits, everyone goes away on vacation. It drops like normal, just like all the rest of the years, right? And then boom, September comes, went back up again, and it's kind of stayed up, and it really hasn't come back down. So what you're going to see is when we start reporting on 2020 numbers, our starting number is going to be kind of over here. Okay. So we will be higher than 2018. We didn't see more of a drop off like they did in 15, 16, and 17 and 18. It stayed strong in December. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of happens at the beginning. Now again, the rest, the bottom one that's 2012, right? 2013, 2014, 15, 16. I mean, it just kind of right as it trends upwards. So again, I thought that was an interesting chart because a lot of people say, when's the best time to list? Honestly, guys, you're going to buy in the market that you sell in the market. It's just the way it is, right? Now, these folks here that bought in this 4-month marker, you're probably going to have to sit a while, right? We're not caught up in terms of prices yet. You may have to wait another another year and a half, 2 years maybe before we get to these numbers. So, like I've talked about before, the interest rates go down, prices have gone up. The entry to the market, the barriers dropped, gloves are off. A lot more people can now afford homes. So the last 6 months in terms of inventory, what's been moving? Look, we see fairly good numbers. July, we had like 100% selling. September, not so much. October, not so much. We only had 50%. But again, it's only one home and 2 were listed, right? So it's hard to work with small numbers. And then November, 2 homes were listed, 2 homes were sold, so 100%. So freehold townhouses, to be quite honest, you look at the numbers, 436, 429, 427, 421. So if you're looking at the average, it looks like it's going down as the year progresses with regards. But again, it just depends on what the condition of the homes are like, right? So these 5 homes that were selling, they could have been bidding wars. There could have been more hardwood. There could have been more upgrades. So again, compared to like 1 or 2 down here, so it's kind of hard. This just gives you an idea, right? Semi-detached, we don't have a lot in town, right? We have very, very few. But the ones that we do have, we did have a couple of, we had seven listings, and we had 7 sales, right? So it just spread out. Everything really got sold in the last number of months. So that's looking good. Days on market, again, it shifts, right? We had 53 up here. Took 1 to get that one moved. But yeah, 10 and 20, right? Now, detached homes, that's where the numbers are. That's where we have a lot of homes that sell. So it's interesting as I look through, in October, we had a lot sell, right? We had over 100% sell in that 1 month alone. We only had 8 listed, right? September, pretty much 100%, right? July, 63%, and as we went through the year, we started to see some summertime, 35 days on the market, right? And then it started to drop again. Then it started to go up again, drop again. And then December hit and things, people wanted to sell and, things went well, right? So it's hard to look at the numbers and know exactly what was going on. But again, it gleams into a little bit as to how long things are on the market, and what's selling. Do we have a couple of months where 100% sell? Yeah, we do, right? So that's the list of homes. And these are just some things that people have said about us, what we do. And then what can you do next, right? You can ask for a pinpoint price analysis. This is where I can come on over and give you the lowdown as to where your property would be compared to others that are on the market. There is a free home room by room review, which is important to know if you need to do any renovations. But the renovations may be small. You may not have a big budget. That's okay. There's small things that you can do that bring in a big dollar. Okay. And then the silent market, and that's just, when, I can put you on a list and see if we can get your home sold prior to even it going on the market. So there's just different things that you can kind of take advantage of. Okay. So that's my review. That's what I wanted to provide. Hopefully you're a little bit more educated than you were going in. And this is the January review. So until next month, hopefully you have an amazing day. And if you have any comments, any questions, you can just go ahead, email me. All my information is in the report. And I wish you all the best. Hope you have an amazing day. And we'll see you next month. Take care. Bye, everybody.